You wake up, and before you even choose breakfast, your body has already chosen the kind of day you're going to have. You can work hard, eat clean, and still feel stuck because the first 60 minutes after waking quietly decide three things: how loud your hunger will be, how chaotic your cravings will get, and how hard your body will fight you later at night. Here's the promise. If you eat 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes of waking, you'll see two changes fast. Your appetite gets quieter, and your energy stops crashing the way it usually does. Most people think fat loss is controlled by effort. Eat less, move more, suffer more. Reality, results are controlled by your system, and your morning is the system's start button. Most people try to fix the day with motivation. Actually, you don't need to be better. You need to flip the signal, because the real problem isn't that you don't know what to eat. The real problem is that your body spends the day in a state of instability, and instability creates hunger that feels like an emergency. If you miss this, you can stay disciplined all day and still lose control at night. But if you understand it, you'll feel two shifts: fewer cravings and less food noise without forcing it. And here's the twist. I'm not going to start with the best move first. I'm going to start with the second best move, because if you hear the best move too early, you'll apply it wrong and get the opposite result. Now, the mechanism, without shortcuts. When you wake up, your body isn't neutral. It's transitioning from sleep into action. That transition is run by signals: stress signals, hunger signals, and fuel signals. Your body is basically asking, do we have fuel? Are we safe? Or do we need to push urgency to keep moving? If your system doesn't feel fuel early, it compensates. It increases urgency. And urgency shows up as sudden hunger that hits like a switch, cravings for fast foods, especially sugar, energy that spikes and crashes, a brain that keeps scanning for quick relief. This is why people can eat healthy and still feel like they're fighting themselves, because they're optimizing input, what they eat, while ignoring the filter, how their body interprets the day. Think of it like this. Input, what you do and what you eat. Filter, hormones, blood sugar stability, nervous system state. Output, cravings, appetite control, fat loss. Most people obsess over input. They track calories, they pick clean foods, they try new plans. But the filter decides everything. And the filter is heavily influenced by the morning signal. This isn't just a theory. In behavioral science and physiology, you see the same pattern. When the brain predicts instability, it increases reward seeking. When the body senses stress, appetite regulation gets messy. When blood sugar swings, hunger becomes urgent and irrational. So the goal isn't to be strong. The goal is to create stability early so you don't need strength later. Now, step one, the second best move that sets up everything else. Step one, build the 30-gram protein signal the right way. What it is? Hitting 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes of waking. Why it matters? Because protein early is one of the strongest stability signals you can send to appetite and blood sugar. How to do it? You need to treat it like a number, not a vibe. Here's the common mistake. People say they're eating protein, but they're not reaching the threshold. 2 eggs is not 30 grams. A small yogurt cup is not 30 grams. A healthy smoothie that's mostly fruit is not 30 grams. Oats and toast are not 30 grams. Those breakfasts can look clean, but they often create the wrong signal: quick energy without stability. Quick energy feels good, then drops. When it drops, your brain interprets it as danger and demands more. That's where the snack loop begins. 30 grams looks like a real portion, a protein shake that truly hits 30 grams, not 10 or 15. A full serving of high-protein Greek yogurt that reaches the number. Eggs plus extra protein, because eggs alone often don't get you there. Cottage cheese in a real portion. Lean meat options, if that fits your lifestyle. The form can change. The number doesn't. Now, what happens when you do this correctly? First, hunger becomes slower. Not gone forever, just slower, less urgent, less dramatic. You stop feeling like you need a rescue snack to function. Second, energy becomes smoother. Instead of a sharp morning spike followed by a crash, you get a steadier runway. That runway is what prevents fake hunger later. Third, the brain quiets down. Food thoughts reduce because your system doesn't feel like it's scrambling. People describe this as the day feels quieter. That's the start of control. And here's the part most people miss. You're not trying to lose fat in the first hour. You're trying to remove the friction that makes fat loss impossible. Because fat loss isn't defeated by one big mistake. It's defeated by small daily extras. The snack that doesn't count, the bite at the counter, the late-night craving that turns into a mini-meal. Those extras usually come from one thing: unstable appetite. Protein early reduces instability. That's why it works. Now, to make step one actually stick, you need one rule. Make it automatic. If you have to think every morning, you won't do it consistently. So pick one repeatable option you can do even on busy days and make it your default. Because the real power is not one day of protein. The real power is a repeated signal your body learns. Now, the rehook, because this is where it gets serious. If your biggest problem is night cravings, if you do fine all day and then suddenly lose control at night, this is the reason you need to hear next. Night cravings are usually not created at night. They're created by a day that started unstable. Your day doesn't fall apart at dinner. It falls apart earlier, quietly, when your body spends the morning and afternoon riding a roller coaster. That's why the first real proof this is working won't be on the scale. It'll be at lunch. Because when you hit 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes of waking, your hunger timing changes. And when hunger timing changes, your entire snack behavior changes without you trying. Most people live inside this loop. Wake up, delay food coffee, sudden hunger, quick carbs, energy spike, crash, snack cravings, night hunger. And they blame discipline. But discipline isn't the missing piece. Stability is. Now, step two, the invisible switch most people ignore. Step two, stop the mid-morning crash before it creates the snack loop. What it is, keeping your late morning stable so lunch doesn't become an emergency. Why it matters? Because emergency lunch leads to afternoon cravings, and afternoon cravings lead to night hunger. How to do it? You need to protect the protein signal instead of canceling it. Here's what happens in real life. Someone does a high-protein breakfast and says, "I did it." Then they stack it with something that creates a crash. They add a heavy sugar load. They eat protein but chase it with a sweet breakfast. They drink a high-sugar coffee drink. They eat healthy cereal on the side. They turn breakfast into protein plus chaos. Protein is a stability message, but sugar spikes are an instability message. If you spike hard, you'll crash. When you crash, the brain pushes for quick energy. Quick energy usually shows up as snacks. So the real step two is not avoid carbs, it's avoid the crash. You want calm fuel, not explosive fuel. A crash doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like your focus drops. Suddenly you get restless. You start thinking about food even if you ate. You want something sweet just to feel normal. You feel like you need coffee again. That's the snack loop trying to begin. When you prevent that loop, you win the day. So what do? Rule 1. Keep breakfast protein forward and simple. If you want carbs, keep them calm and reasonable, not a sugar bomb. Rule 2, don't turn your morning into stress stacking, because stress can create appetite chaos even if your food is perfect. Which brings us to the part most people don't want to hear. A lot of hunger is not hunger. It's nervous system urgency. If you wake up, immediately check your phone, immediately get hit with stress, immediately rush, immediately slam caffeine, your body is already in an activated state. Then you eat protein, but your system still feels threatened. So you did the right food signal, but you stacked it on top of a threat signal. And threat signals can override food signals. This is why some people say, "I ate protein and I still felt snacky." They didn't fail the food, they ignored the filter. So the simple method for step 2 is water first, keep the first 30 minutes calm if you can, then hit 30 grams of protein, then avoid adding a sugar bomb that triggers a crash. Now here's what changes when step 2 is working. Lunch becomes normal. Not tiny, not perfect. Normal. You stop arriving at lunch starving. And when you're not starving, you stop eating like your body is trying to fix a problem. That one shift, non-emergency lunch, is huge because emergency lunch is where the day usually starts slipping. When lunch is emergency, you eat fast carbs, then you crash again, then you snack, then you reach for something sweet, then by night, your brain is trained, food equals relief. When lunch is normal, the entire afternoon becomes quieter. Now, the re-hook, because this is where most people get tricked, even if you do step 1 perfectly and step 2 correctly, there's a trap that can still destroy results. A trap so common that people think they have bad genetics or slow metabolism, when it's really just a hidden pattern. And that trap is step 3, the biggest secret. Because step 3 is not about protein at all. Step 3, biggest secret in the middle, protein early works because it controls the relief cycle. What it is? Breaking the daily relief cycle that creates night cravings. Why it matters? Because most people don't overeat from hunger, they overeat from relief. How to do it? You need to understand what your brain is actually chasing. Here's the truth. Most nighttime eating isn't about food quality, it's about the feeling food creates. After a long day, your brain wants a downshift. If your day was unstable, crashes, snacks, stress, your brain learns one reliable downshift, sugar and snacks. So at night, the craving isn't just for calories, it's for calm. That's why people can eat a full dinner and still want something sweet, because the craving is not stomach empty, it's brain wants relief. And this is why protein early is powerful. It makes the day steadier so you don't need as much relief later. But here's the secret most people miss. They try to fix night cravings at night. They fight it with willpower at 10 p.m. That's too late. Night cravings are usually a delayed consequence of the day's instability. So step 3 is about creating a stable day that makes the night easy. And you do that with a simple framework, the stability ladder. Beat 1, morning stability signal, 30 grams protein within 60 minutes. Beat 2, midday crash prevention, avoid the spike and crash loop. And beat 3, evening relief replacement, a predictable, non-food downshift. That last beat is the secret, because even with perfect food, if your brain only knows one downshift, snacking, it will keep demanding it. So you replace the downshift with something predictable, not something dramatic, something consistent, a short walk after dinner. A short walk after dinner, a hot shower, a calm wind-down routine, a simple tea, a screen-off window. The point is not the specific habit. The point is the signal. We downshift without food. Once your brain learns that pattern, cravings weaken fast. Now here's the re-hook that leads into the payoff. When you combine step 1 and step 2, you stabilize appetite. When you add step 3, you remove the night relief trigger. And once that happens, the final reveal becomes obvious, because the reason 30 grams of protein works has nothing to do with building muscle. It works because it gives you control over the system. Your body doesn't change because you found a new trick. It changes when your system stops forcing you into the same losses every day. And the truth is, most people aren't losing progress because they eat too much. They're losing progress because their day is unstable, so their brain keeps creating emergencies. Emergencies create impulse. Impulse creates extra calories. Extra calories create stuck. Now here's the payoff. The real reason 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes works is not because protein is special. It works because it changes the master variable that decides everything: appetite predictability. When appetite is predictable, your day becomes easy. When appetite is unpredictable, your day becomes a fight. So the master rule is simple. You don't need more discipline, you need fewer appetite emergencies. And the fastest way to reduce emergencies is to set the stability signal early, protect it midday, then remove the night relief trigger. That's why step 1, step 2, and step 3 were in that order. Because if you do step 1 without step 2, you can still crash and snack. If you do step 1 and 2 without step 3, you can still crave relief at night. But when you combine all 3, your day stops creating the conditions that produce cravings. Now, here's what actually happens inside your day when you run the full system. You wake up and hit 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes. That tells your body fuel is here. When fuel feels present early, the brain reduces urgency. Hunger becomes slower instead of sudden. The need for quick reward becomes weaker. Blood sugar becomes smoother. Your mood becomes more stable. Your appetite stops acting like a siren. Then you protect the signal midday. You avoid turning breakfast into protein plus chaos. You avoid stacking it with a sugar bomb. You avoid the crash that creates a snack loop. You reduce stress stacking. You keep the morning stable enough so lunch isn't an emergency. That means lunch becomes normal, not perfect. Normal. And when lunch is normal, your afternoon doesn't become a constant negotiation with snacks. Then you install the final piece. You replace the night relief trigger with a predictable downshift, because if your brain has only one downshift, snacking, it will keep demanding it. But if your brain learns a new pattern, downshift without food, the cravings begin to lose power. That's the system. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to implement this in a simple 7-day plan without turning your life into a project. Day 1. Pick one repeatable 30-gram breakfast. This matters more than variety. Variety feels exciting, but repeatability wins. Choose one option you can do even when you're busy, something you can execute without thinking. Make it default. If you have to decide every morning, you will eventually skip it. Day 2. Lock the timing. The rule is 30 grams within 60 minutes of waking, not whenever you feel like it, because the whole point is sending the stability message early, before your body compensates with urgency. Day 3. Remove the crash trigger. Watch the hidden sabotages. Don't stack your protein with a sugar bomb breakfast. Don't turn your coffee into dessert. Don't create a spike that guarantees a crash. You don't need to fear carbs. You need to avoid explosive spikes. Day 4. Stabilize lunch. This is how you know it's working. If you arrive at lunch starving, something is still off. When the system is working, lunch feels like a normal decision instead of a rescue mission. Day 5. Install the evening downshift. Pick a simple, predictable, non-food downshift. A short walk after dinner. A hot shower. 10 minutes of calm stretching. A phone off window. A simple routine that tells your brain, we're done for today. This is not a self-care trend. It's craving engineering. You're teaching your brain a new relief pattern. Day 6. Track one metric: food noise. Don't obsess over the scale yet. Track how often you think about food when you're not truly hungry. Track whether cravings feel urgent or optional. If food noise drops, you're winning, because when food noise drops, your day becomes easier to keep clean. Day 7. Tighten the system with one adjustment. If you still feel crashy late morning, breakfast might not actually be 30 grams. If you still feel snacky, the crash trigger might still be present. If you still crave hard at night, your downshift might be inconsistent. Fix the weak link, not the whole plan. Now, here's what results typically look like when the system is running. By day 2, 3, you notice fewer sudden hunger spikes. The urge for random snacks begins to soften. Your energy becomes less dramatic. By day 5, 7, lunch feels easier and more controlled. Afternoon cravings reduce. Night cravings feel weaker, less urgent, less commanding. By day 10, 14, your eating becomes predictable. Predictable eating creates a consistent calorie gap without suffering. That's when body composition starts moving, because you're no longer accidentally stacking small extras every night. And that's the real transformation, not a diet, a system that stops creating emergencies. Now, let's make the payoff crystal clear with a micro example. Before, you wake up, delay food, run on coffee, hunger hits hard, you grab quick carbs, you crash, you snack, your brain learns relief equals sugar, then at night you feel pulled. After, you wake up, you hit 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes, appetite stays slower, lunch becomes normal, afternoon is quieter, and at night you don't need relief the same way. Same person, different system. That's why this works, because you didn't try harder, you changed the filter that decides your behavior. Now, the recap. Step 1, 30 grams of protein within 60 minutes of waking. Step 2, protect the signal. Avoid the spike and crash loop and stress stacking. Step 3, replace the night relief trigger with a predictable, non-food downshift. Master rule, reduce appetite emergencies and everything becomes easier. If you want more practical, psychology-based systems like this, simple changes that make your body stop fighting you, subscribe. Not for the channel, for your control. Because once your system is stable, results stop being a battle.